Hey everyone, it's time for another species spotlight, and this time we're featuring blue-tongued skinks. So blue-tongued skinks, honestly, in my opinion, are probably the best intermediate pet lizard in general. But we'll do a whole video about that later. But blue-tongued skinks are awesome, cool little skink species. So blue-tongued skink or the blue-tongued lizard, but blue-tongued skinks. They're an Australian species, although there are several subspecies found on the kind of in the Pacific Ocean, like in Indonesia and like Key Island and other places like that. So these guys are awesome. They're fairly fossorial, which means that they like to burrow underground. But these guys are absolutely really amazing little lizards. So found in Australia, like I said, which means that as a whole, they like it hot. But that doesn't mean that they don't need humidity. And it's actually one of the biggest mistakes that people make, specifically when first getting a blue-tongued skink, is that they don't give them any humidity. Because a lot of the blue-tongued skinks, the two most commons are the northerns, like Warlock here, and then the Indonesian or Irian giant / IJ, all the same one, just different names for them colloquially in the trade. The IJ or Irian Jaya blue-tongued skink. There we go. They actually need a little bit cooler and a lot more humidity than you would think like kind of a lizard from that region would do. And so you end up with a lot of skinks with missing toes and stuff like that. We actually had a very old IJ blue-tongued skink that we essentially got in as a rescue. We already got as kind of an older adult, and he also suffered from that. He had almost no toes, kind of like our Ackie monitor Remus. But northerns, they're a little bit more typical of what you think they need. They need that high hot spot, over 100-degree basking spot. They need UV. Well, so here's the thing about this, you guys. For a long time, including breeders in Australia, actually kept these guys in a rack system. A lot larger tubs than like a ball python, and they still gave them like paper and would give them hay or straw, as well as water dishes and things for them to climb on and interact with. But they did keep them in a rack system, and they did breed, house, and live them successfully in rack systems for a long time. But as we have now learned and seen, that regardless of the species, UVB light, unless it's a truly subterranean or troglobite species, UVB light is kind of a good thing to have. While it's not necessary, it improves their life considerably. So I would say that if you get a blue-tongued skink, you should provide it with UVB. They don't have to, but that is what me personally, learning, failing, experiencing, doing new things, says you should probably give them UVB light if you can. So that being said, give them plenty of substrate. They like to dig. They need to be kind of fed a wide variety of foods. So hard-boiled eggs, veggies, crickets. Some people like to feed like small pinky mice and rats. I would do that very sparingly. Some people do cat food and stuff. I've done it before too, but I don't like to only do that. It's kind of like, okay, veggies today, hard-boiled today. I'll throw some crickets in there when I do crickets for other people. A little bit of canned cat food, a little bit of, prepared blue-tongued skink food, things like that. Just change up the diet, kind of like you do with any other lizard or reptile in general, or turtle. So, I've kind of skipped around. I've done a little bit more about their care, but the biggest feature that everybody is famous for these guys is their blue tongues. And that is a defense mechanism. So obviously with any wild animal, when an animal feels threatened, its first instinct is to run, get out of there. That applies for lizards, turtles, snakes, whatever that is. It's to get out of there, because if it's still there, then it's still technically, a potential prey item. After that, then it moves to its kind of last defense, which is, its last defense is to bite, obviously. And that's for everything too. But that bright blue tongue, that is its iconic and kind of main line of defense after not being able to get away. And that is that bright blue. It doesn't look quite right. It's supposed to be intimidating. So, they'll pop their mouths open really wide. And he does this to me. Warlock, we're working on handling. I'm wondering if that's actually why we kind of got him for such a good deal. But we'll get to that in a second. They'll pop them open, they'll hiss, and they'll throw that blue tongue out really wide. And you can actually see it has a small little divot I don't know if you can on him, but it has a small little divot, so it's a small little forked tail at the end. And that's supposed to, kind of intimidate and scare predators, because it's this bright blue thing, and it looks kind of crazy, and maybe that's supposed to kind of ward things off. And they actually have done now studies, and I just read an article about this, that they have found that there is more UVB kind of receptors on the back of the tongue than the front. So it's a very UV reflective tongue. So when it pops open, other animals can see shades of ultraviolet light that we can't. Like, we can't even really know what they can see truthfully, and what what they can and what we can't see. But we do know that their tongues are very ultraviolet reflective, and they have a lot more at the back of the tongue than the front. So it makes you kind of wonder if a lot of animals can see UVB light. Okay, no, we won't put you down quite yet. Please don't bite me. You have pretty sharp teeth, buddy. They have they have very reflective UV light sensitivity. Maybe they can see things. So maybe something about large concentrations of ultraviolet light, can throw off a predator more effectively than we even really know. So just kind of really cool things. But anyway, these guys can be very great pets. I would say recommend anyone getting into this do some research about that. There's kind of a lot of misinformation about there. No problem plugging another person's channel. Reptile Mountain, they're a YouTube channel. They're a local here in Colorado blue tongue breeder. I think he only really, as far as blue tongues go, I think he only does northerns and easterns. I don't think he does any IJs. I don't think anybody really, here, I'll sit you down. I don't think anybody is really working with Irian Jayas. They're still very heavily imported. But he has absolutely amazing setups for his blue tongue skinks. And he kind of does this weird hybrid of racks and enclosures. And you should absolutely check out his channel when it comes to his blue tongue setups. And if there was one person I would say that, after seeing one in person, watching this video, and you're really considering getting a blue tongue skink, go check out his channel and talk to him, because he knows a lot. But Warlock here, as you can now see kind of up close, his jaw's a little wonky. So we picked this up from somebody who got him from a breeder, and he got out of his enclosure. He was attacked by a cat, had to have surgery. It was a whole thing, but his jaw's now okay. He's eating very fine. As you can see, he's a nice small little potato, and they can get pretty hefty. He's still fairly young, but he's adult size, so now he's just kind of filling out. But I don't know if it's because of that or anything like that. He's not a real big fan of handling, but they can be very handleable, personable reptiles. But Warlock, we're still kind of working on things, and I don't know. Let's see if you're going to get that tongue to come out, buddy. No? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know if he's going to or not. But anyway, so like I said, Warlock, we're still kind of working on a little bit with the handling, but they can be very handleable, personable reptiles. And honestly, as far as intermediate goes, and so for me, that classification is, they need UVB, more varied diets, and things like that. I would say, honestly, they cost more, depending on what morph or whatever it is you're getting. They usually cost a little bit more than a bearded dragon, but I would probably recommend these over bearded dragon for kind of an intro into a larger, more handleable lizard species. Anyway, that's the blue tongue skink. I don't like to get too in depth, but they are really cool little lizards. Just remember, when it comes to lizards, more space, always best. Give them UVB, vary their diet, places to hide. Don't skimp out on the humidity in a large water dish. Keep up with handling, positive reinforcement, positive interactions, and you can have an amazing little lizard for over 10 years, and they are really, really cool. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, hit me up on, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. Interested in baby snakes, merch, whatever. Let me know. jzsreptiles@gmail.com. I'm JZ. This is Warlock, and we'll check you next time.